Hey guys, it's RodimusPrimal. I am back with another video, and today we're going to take a look at all of the reveals as Hasbro has unveiled Wave 3 of Transformers Age of the Primes. A lot of figures to go through, a lot of figures to give you my thoughts on, so sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchase some merch. Links are in the description below. Alright, so as you guys know, the other day I went ahead and, talked about, Studio Series 86 Megatron, and I also covered the 4-pack that is a Target exclusive for the More Than Meets the Eye collection, but I realized I didn't go over the other figures that are redecos of previously released figures that are also going to be part of that More Than Meets the Eye collection. And I think they're worth talking about because right now you're seeing a lot of it on shelves is Transformers Devastation Optimus Prime. I think the figure looks cool. The reason why he is scaled the way that he is supposed to go along with that Studio Series 86 Devastator. I'm perfectly content right now with 86 Prime. Great figure. If you can get your hands on an 86 Prime, great figure. But anyway, that 4-pack, I do want to get for myself, but I'm on the fence about these ones. Wheeljack. We've got another Wheeljack figure coming, and this one is going to have the same head, I think, just based upon what it looks like, as the Origins figure, but it's the Earthrise mold, and he comes with one of the guns that's used in Transformers Devastation. And that's the reason why the paint scheme is the way that it is. You may or may not like the paint scheme on this, and that's perfectly fine. They're also doing Sideswipe. This is good news for anybody who missed out on the Kingdom release that came in a 2-pack with, I think it was Skywarp, and I think Mirage came with Grimlock, right? The Dinobot Beast Wars redeco as Grimlock. So if you just wanted to get Sideswipe, this is your opportunity to get Sideswipe as well. It also is going to be the War for Cybertron Optimus Prime and War for Cybertron Megatron figures. And I think the deco on them is a little bit different than what they were when they were first released. So if you didn't like the color scheme, maybe you might like this version a little bit better. It is worth it, I think, if you missed out on any of the figures. But if you're already content with one of the Wheeljacks, it's fine. And also, according to the listings for next year, at least as far as the leaks are concerned, there's going to be an 86 Wheeljack. So, is he going to be alive or is he going to be dead? That's the question. And the fact that it comes with that particular head makes me wonder, like if they're actually going to retool him to be to have a blast wound or something, to kind of have the corpse of Wheeljack for an 86 version. I would hope that they make it just an alive version. I don't necessarily need more corpses, because what they'll probably do is they'll probably release Windcharger, and then they'll release 86 Wheeljack, and then they'll release Windcharger and Wheeljack as corpses in a 2-pack. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. The other figure I think that everybody's been asking for is Prowl, and I really want them to do a Generation 1 Prowl figure again. Just release the Earthrise mold or just to do a brand new Datsun mold. I don't know what they're going to do, but that's what a lot of people have been asking. But the big news today is Transformers Age of the Prime. But the big news today is Transformers Age of the Primes Wave 3. Now, currently right now, I think Wave 2 is just slowly starting to trickle in. I missed out on some of Wave 1, and so I'm hoping that I can still get my hands on some of it, because figures are pretty cool. Not gonna lie. I want to complete Superion. I'm hoping that I can complete Devastator. It's like so many figures are coming out, and for the primes themselves, some people are all in. Some people are like, I'm gonna hold off on this one. I'm gonna get this one. I'm gonna get that one. That's fine too. And if you're a Bayverse fan, which I'm not, there is a 3-pack that's coming your way too. So we're gonna take a look at all of it. And the first thing I want to take a look at is the Studio Series multi-pack. It is an Amazon exclusive, and I will have the affiliate links, below if you want to get it. It's going to have the Revenge of the Fallen Megatron, along with the Fallen and Soundwave. So if you missed out on any one of those three, and you couldn't get your hands on any one of them specifically, this is your chance to get it. And it looks like, based upon some of the images that I've seen from some people, is that the Megatron figure is recolored. So, here taking a look at the Fallen, and of course Megatron and Soundwave there in robot mode. And then of course you've got the Fallen, and I think the colors are slightly different on them. And it's designed to probably try to be a little bit more movie accurate. So it's really a matter of what, you prefer. Again, I'm not a Bayverse fan. I downright dislike the Bayverse, films. So for me, this is like really good for Bayverse fans. So, anything to make those guys happy, I guess, is pretty much what they're doing. The next thing is a 2-pack that we had heard about, but I gotta be honest, part of me is like, I'm already happy and content with the Sandstorm figure that I have, and I already got the Takara Legends Slugslinger figure. The one that everybody's missing is Misfire. Literally missing is Misfire. It's really weird to say it that way. But, you have it's a G1 Rebirth colored Slugslinger, and he doesn't come with his Target Master partner. Instead, the Headmaster figure, since that's what they designed when Titan's Return came out, is just going to be Caliburst. They're not going to actually give us the Takara Target Master, which is unfortunate. But the good news is this. Sandstorm does have the cartoon face. That was the one thing I had an issue with when it came down to, the Sandstorm figure that had just came out recently, was that it was a toy accurate, face with a cartoon head. So it just doesn't look right, And personally speaking, I would just rather have the cartoon head. I don't necessarily need a brand new Sandstorm figure. And Slugslinger, I do like the darker blue on him. The version that came out of Takara Legends was a lighter blue, and that was because the Headmaster's anime used a lighter blue, whereas Rebirth, it was almost like blackish blue, as far as the color scheme is concerned. And I think the original toy was like somewhere in the middle. And looking at the alternate modes, they both look very good. So if you missed out on either of them, this is your chance to get them. But a pleasant surprise is one that, for a mold that I was sitting there saying to myself, I think I'm going to skip this one, and that was Armada Red Alert. They are going to do the Decepticon Flatline. Now, if you don't know who Flatline is, there was the IDW comics for the live-action films that took place in between the first and second film, and there was a character introduced named Flatline who was responsible for turning RC into 3 robots. And I believe that they did make a toy for him back at the at the time, and now they are giving us a Armada styled version by using the Armada Red Alert mold to give us Flatline. And I think it's kind of cool. This is where I'm saying to myself, I'm like, okay, I skipped Red Alert, but I kind of like this Flatline character. And he did appear later in the, I guess, the mainline IDW Comics universe, and, as a character. So, you do have, if you want to add him to your G1 roster, you can, or mix and match whatever universes if that's what your cup of tea. But if it's not a character you like, that's fine too. But I also think it's great that we are finally being given the opportunity to complete all 7 Insecticons. That's right, 7. There were 3, smaller ones that everybody knows, and then there's the 4 deluxe Insecticons that came from a completely different toy line. And so now we have gotten, a kickback recolor as Ransack. We've got the other 2 in a Amazon collection. And the 4th and final one, Venom, is being renamed Venom for trademark reasons. It is one that is, finally gives people the opportunity to complete their Insecticons. And, in packaging, he looks kind of cool. His bug mode is weird, but that's because he's Cicada. And his robot mode looks cool too. And as far as the deluxe Insecticons are concerned, they haven't had much of fiction, but whenever they appeared, it was always like, kind of like a specialized cameo that they appeared in, and they attacked, whatever Autobots in certain places. So it's kind of cool that they've finally added him, and that will give us all 4 Deluxe Insecticons. Another figure that I was kind of curious as to what he was going to look like is Micronus, or Onyx Prime. And it looks to be like some sort of like Apex-like armor, and is that what he's wearing here? Because when you take a look at what he transforms into, it's like a little unicycle or like bike that he's riding, and that is the smaller robot, and then it transforms with with the motorcycle to turn into that larger bot. And then on top of that, he transforms into like the Minicon symbol. So for the lore for the 13, he's transforming into something a little bit different, is that the Minicons in this toy line are not like as it was in Transformers Armada, where they were creations of Unicron, but they are, being, descendant of Micronus Prime. Little weird, but that's just kind of like the lore that they're going with this toy line. I'm not going to lie, this is a very pleasant surprise. Alpha Trion. I already got the Hero is Born 2-pack, which was a Scourge retool and gave us different color scheme for him to give us an older Alpha Trion. But the thing is that works for older Alpha Trion, but what about the younger A3 who became Alpha Trion? And that is what we get here. And I gotta say, now you sold me. Because the head sculpt is the younger, not long bearded Alpha Trion, but it's just the mustache. And yes, he did have a black mustache in Forever Is a Long Time Coming, and he had a white mustache by the time of, War Dawn, where he rebuilt Orion Pax into Optimus Prime. So this kind of gives us the best of both worlds. He has an opening and closing hand, so he can write in the Covenant of Primus. That is basically what we're seeing here. And he does have a Cybertronian mode, which he did not have in the cartoon, but it is welcome because it kind of gives you him to transform into something. He is a Cybertronian hover car, just like Blur, And on top of that, his backpack there, like the semi-cape, becomes a shield, which he can use. So it is something to give him a little bit of protection. And also, that is not being featured here, is the fact that he can take off the Autobot symbol on his, stomach there and bring out the Autobot symbol, just like he did in Forever Is a Long Time Coming, to turn off the Dark Guardians, which eventually became the Omega Sentinels, or Guardian robots, of one of which became Omega Supreme. So it's kind of cool to have all of that lore added into the mix, and with this figure, and I think he looks great. Now, Onyx Prime is a figure that I was not originally intending to get. I did talk about him in a previous news video, and I gotta say, he looks great. He really does. If you're looking to complete all 13 Primes, I think this is a welcome addition. The fact that he has a robot mode, a centaur mode, and a beast mode, I think is really cool. Now, this one is also a surprise too. It's not really a surprise, because when we saw Generation 2 Grimlock hit the shelves, we wondered, okay, are they going to release the other Generation 2 Dinobots? And yes, they are. To my understanding, they're going to be doing 2 separate 2-packs for the Dinobots. The retail releases of both Snarl and Slug here in this particular case, where they're renaming him. Again, you could it's the same thing with Venom. They can't call him Slag on the packaging, but he is Slag, right? And the same thing with Venom. They can't call him Venom on the packaging, but it's Venom. So same thing, right? Anyway, I had a red Slag and I had a red Snarl, and I know that they released both of them in both green and in red. And also, I think late 92, the very, very limited release of the original Generation 1 colors for the Generation 2 Dinobots, which is why they appeared that way in the Generation 2 comics. But here, we're getting Slag and Snarl in red and green. And to my understanding, I believe this is it's not an exclusive, I don't think, to Amazon. I think this is an exclusive, to online retailers. Oh, it's like a Generation Selects kind of thing. So if you want to get all of the Dinobots together, you can get this 2-pack. And it's great to complete your Generation 2 set. I think they're also going to be doing a G2 set of both Sludge and Swoop, which they were never released in retail, but this is going to give everybody an opportunity to get a complete 5 team of Generation 2 Dinobots. The biggest question that everybody's been asking me is, are they going to re-release Generation 1 Grimlock, either for Devastation or for, just re-releasing the Studio Series 86 Grimlock? To my understanding, they will be. When? I don't know. But at least that's, to my understanding, what they're going to be doing. Finally, the last 2 Aerialbots have also been revealed as well. We have Skydive here, which I think he looks fantastic. He looks like he is a partial retool from Air Raid. So his chest is very similar. It's either Air Raid or Slingshot. I'm not sure. Just looking at the actual molding on him. And, in packaging, he looks great. I think in robot mode, he looks awesome. His jet mode, I think it's Air Raid. I think it's just, retooled from Air Raid, just using a single, tail fin there, in order to give us that, accurate jet that he had back then. So it's kind of like a mix of both. But he works. I think he looks great. And then Firefight looks good as well. I'm really, really happy with the design choices that they've made out of the Aerialbots. They've done a fantastic job. And I think that, in robot mode, Fireflight looks great. I know it looks a little weird just because of where the head is on his eyes. I know that's just because of the official images, but it's just the way that his head is. And his jet mode looks great as well. That is an F4 Phantom, or at least a stylized take on it. And I think the color scheme looks great too. Also, this is what the full complete Superion looks like. So if you already got Silverbolt and you already got, I believe, Air Raid and Slingshot, then once you get Skydive and Fireflight, you'll be able to complete Superion. And the one gripe that I have with this figure, and I've made this gripe before, and I still have this issue with it, is I just don't like the shins. That is my one gripe out of this figure. I don't mind skeletal combiners. I prefer if they were really combiners, but I like the fact that this is stable. I like Legacy Menasor. It's a great figure. But as far as Superion is concerned, the shins just don't work for me. I wish that there was something that you could do to make those shins look better. And I don't mind the way that the Aerialbots are on the back. I thought about this. The reason why the jets are the calf muscles of, I know it's they're robots, but the reason why they're the calves of Superion is because the jet boosters are on the back of the Aerialbots. So that's his rocket boosters are in his feet so he could fly. That is, it makes sense for him to be there. It's just how far they jut out on this figure in comparison if he was an actual, if he combined a little bit differently. So that is my one gripe is the legs. Other than that, I'm happy to get a new Superion. I've been waiting for a Superion forever. I missed out on the Combiner Wars mold. I did not get the Unite Warriors one. And by the time that I was finally able to do so, it was hard to get them. So now, here is the new Superion, and he's going to look great next to Legacy Menasor, and I can't wait to get him. And with that being said, I gotta say, I was really impressed with all of the reveals. Whether you are really interested in a lot of the multi-packs or not, whether you want the complete Dinobots, I want a complete Superion. I kind of like Flatline, and, I definitely want that Alpha Trion figure, but everybody is going to have their differing opinions. But I don't know what you guys think about all the reveals for the Age of the Primes third wave. Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. I have a brand new retrospective coming very soon, so you can stay tuned for all of that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.